I, 28 male, am still trying to understand the events of the last month. My ex-girlfriend, Julie, 29, thinks that my current girlfriend, Mindy, 28, is manipulative and sabotaged our 4-year relationship. I was in a loving relationship with Julie for the last 4 years. We met through some mutual friends. Julie and I were very compatible in terms of our love for outdoor activities and running. We have very similar lifestyles and supported each other well for the last 4 years. We've also been living together for the last 3 years. We even discussed getting married during the summer. Everything was great, and I planned to propose to her over the holidays. However, I started to see changes in Julie's behavior around September. She was acting distant and looking stressed. It was quite noticeable, and I was worried. I trust her wholeheartedly, and I could not imagine she would be cheating on me. However, she did spend more time by herself. Around the same time, Julie's friend Mindy messaged me privately and asked me if I could meet her secretly, as she wanted to tell me something about Julie. Mindy and Julie work together, and I've known Mindy ever since I started dating Julie. I was surprised, to be honest. I assumed the worst. I met her at a cafe after work. She asked me if things were going okay between Julie and me. She told me that Julie had said to her that she was planning to leave me soon. This was a total shock to me. I asked her if there was anyone else that Julie was interested in, and she said no. Julie confided in her that she wasn't sure about marrying me. She told me that she had to tell me this, as she didn't want me to be blindsided. I was devastated. I started putting more effort into making our relationship more exciting, planning more dates, etc. Mindy was also helping me through this time and telling me more about what Julie told her. Eventually, before Thanksgiving, Julie said to me that she loved me, but she wanted to take a break for a month to live alone. She said that she just wanted to live alone for a month to make sure she wanted to marry me. I was completely heartbroken. I asked her if she wanted to pursue someone else. She told me that that was not the case, and I better not do anything stupid either. She loves me with all her heart, but she just wants to stay away from me to ensure she's marrying me for love, not because she's used to being with me. I did not understand that at all. I told her that if she's not sure after 4 years if she wants to marry me, then maybe we should just break up. We had a big fight and broke up after a few days. As our lease was ending, we decided to part ways in December. She got a new apartment, and I kept our old apartment and just took her name off the lease. After the breakup, I felt very lonely, as I wasn't used to being in the apartment alone. I didn't want to keep being sad and invited many friends for a New Year's party. I also invited Mindy. We had a good time, and my friends did their best to cheer me up. Mindy also mingled with my friends, and it was good. Mindy decided to stay back to help me clean up, and we hooked up that night. I felt guilty, but Mindy did cheer me up. Since then, we've hung out almost daily at my place. I'm still sad about Julie, but I won't lie. Being with Mindy makes me happy. She's sweet and caring. Last Sunday, we woke up, and someone was banging on the door. I went to open it, and it was Julie. She looked furious and started yelling at me. She kept on accusing me of cheating on her. I told her I most certainly did not cheat on her, and she was the one who broke up with me. Mindy was also at my apartment. Julie was just angry at both of us. She started calling Mindy a manipulative witch and told me that Mindy was the one who suggested to her that she should take some time away from me to understand her true feelings. I calmed her down and asked her to explain herself. She told me that since our marriage conversation, she told Mindy about it, and Mindy kept on asking Julie if she was sure about marrying me. Mindy suggested that she take some time to understand her true feelings and that I'll understand and give her some space. When I said no, Mindy convinced her that I was so controlling that I couldn't even give her 1 month to herself and convinced her to break up with me. Mindy told me she did not say such things. These were all Julie's ideas, and she was just there during these conversations. She did tell Julie that she told me about some of the things so that I could get a chance to make things right with her over the last few months. That made Julie more angry, and she started accusing me of emotionally cheating on her. Julie told me that the last few weeks have made her realize that we weren't meant to be together, but she now cannot believe that I could move on from a 4-year relationship in a week. On one hand, I want to believe Julie, but she broke up with me for no fault of my own. Mindy was there for me when I was down, but now I also doubt her. She suddenly started talking to me out of the blue, as we had never really been close before, and she immediately became my support after the breakup, although Julie was her close friend. Am I the idiot to emotionally cheat on Julie? Should I have told her about Mindy's text? Should I not have moved on from her so quickly, even though Julie broke up with me? I was just hurting, and Mindy was right there to support me. I need advice from someone with a clear mind on what's going on. Mindy played you both. It's kind of obvious from what you wrote. Man, talk to Julie. If you guys have been dating for 4 years, to the point where you were about to propose to her, you likely know her well enough to tell if she's probably lying or not. Hear her out and go with your gut. Even if you choose not to reconcile or believe her, I'd still take a break from dating Mindy. You rebounded hard. 1 week after a 4-year relationship ends, you're already sleeping with someone else? Take your time to mourn the relationship and center yourself. No need to rush into anything. I hope you were using protection. Otherwise, I expect Mindy will soon notify you of her pregnancy. Yep, the dude messed up. This level of obliviousness from OP is kinda shocking. I find it upsetting that he doesn't trust Julie's word over Mindy. He claims to have loved and trusted Julie, yet Mindy was supposedly Julie's friend, and crap-talked her and jumped in bed with him at the first opportunity. Friends don't do that. I bet Julie wouldn't treat a friend that way, and I bet when in several years Mindy goes full-out Gone Girl on him, he'll be all surprised Pikachu face. But there were no red flags at all. Mindy knew exactly what she was doing when she volunteered to stay behind after the New Year's Eve party to help OP clean. Mindy played Julie. OP played himself. Mindy is the catalytic idiot. OP is definitely the one who kept the fire burning idiot, while Julie fell for the manipulation of what was supposed to be her best friend and her entire relationship. Wow, poor girl. Imagine the destruction Mindy might cause with some other person who she doesn't want in OP's life. I once knew someone like that. Luckily, everyone started to see her true personality, and it was twisted. Good riddance to her. I feel like Julie dodged a bullet. Now she's not marrying a man who sneaks around with other women behind her back and sleeps with her friends. I've been dating Matt, 26, for a little over a year. We knew each other 2 years prior to dating, and we got along really well. I have a son, toddler, and a daughter, preschooler, who we met multiple times when I was with the friend group. Here's the thing, though. We just got a place together, but the place needed work before we could move in, so we agreed with the landlord that we would help fix it up with him, the landlord, to get half off the first month's rent. He agreed, so for a month, we were there every day cleaning this place up, and I started noticing some red flags like a quick temper, but I literally just assumed it was because the AC wasn't working, and it was like a sauna in the house. So he was pouring sweat and getting angry, but again, I thought it was because he was hot. But as soon as he cooled off, he was fine again. But we finished the house, the AC was working again, so it was no longer hot. We moved in yesterday morning. He was barking orders all day to me, like telling me where to put things, or if I put something somewhere he didn't like, he was all, "Why would you put that there?" and literally looked at me like I was stupid with the "Are you serious?" look. But I let it slide because I really didn't know what else to do, I guess. Or every 15 minutes, he asked me to go with him to Walmart because he just wanted to blow a bunch of money on stuff to make the place feel like home. We hadn't even unpacked half of our stuff either. He got irritated when I said I didn't think we should spend more money right now. But anyway, I go and pick up my kids and stuff for dinner. I grab a family pack of kielbasa, the one that has 3.5 strips and rice. Well, I only cut up 2 of the kielbasa because that's literally plenty. He comes over and says, "Why aren't you making all of it?" So I told him I didn't need to make all of it and that this would feed us all and would still be enough for leftovers. Then I commented about how I would use the rest of the kielbasa that I wasn't cooking to feed my kids and myself the next day because I like kielbasa sandwiches. He blew up. Thankfully, the kids weren't inside to hear it. My mom came over and brought them to the park across the street. He told me there was no way it would feed all of us and that I was selfish for only thinking about what I would eat tomorrow instead of worrying about feeding us all tonight. He walked out and slammed the door after I said, "Are you really blowing up on me about food right now?" I watched him drive off. I immediately started taking my kids and my kids' stuff out to the car and had my mom leave with my kids. I get everything loaded up before he returns. Most of my stuff is still in storage. Well, he texted me about 25 minutes after I left, saying, "Did you really leave? Please come back and talk to me. I'm sorry. I'm having such a bad day, and I'm just exhausted from working and doing the repairs here. You shouldn't have left over this," etc., etc. So, am I the idiot for leaving the same day I moved in with my boyfriend? Edit. I generally don't have the energy to argue with salty, toxic masculinity men. I work full-time. I'm not leeching Matt's money. I bought the food with my money. Half of my money went into getting us in the house. I work full-time at a bank. He had work the next day, but I didn't. Therefore, he wouldn't have been home to eat the leftover kielbasa with me and my kids. And therefore, no, I didn't include him in it. Not the idiot. Leaving was the right decision. He thought he had you in a position where you wouldn't leave. Started being a total moron once you agreed to live together and started working on the apartment. It would have only gotten worse over time. You did what's best for you and your kids. It was the audacity to say, "You shouldn't leave over this," when he literally left over it. Rules for 3, not for me. That dude's a red flag, and you did the right thing. I'm so glad you moved you and your children out. Please don't go back to him, ever, no matter what he says. You got a dose of reality and made the very best decision for you and your kids. Well done, OP. Please tell me you took the kielbasa with you. After CPS got involved, my husband and I, both 33 and male, recently became guardians of my niece, Ella, teen. There's a lot of background here that I need to get out of the way first. Ella's father's my brother, Tom, and Ella's mom died due to complications delivering my other niece, Becca, pre-tween. Ella was 7 at the time, and she blamed Becca for their mom's death. She quickly became furious and expressed hatred for her sister and made comments about how Becca should have been the one to die instead and that Becca stole her mom from her. Tom did not get Ella any help. I got involved and warned him. Ella was not coping well, and things would turn nasty. Tom said he was helping the girls' relationship, and that's all that would be needed. Then 2 years later, with no therapy and no improvement in the relationship between the girls, Tom married Sarah. This is where things went from bad to worse. Becca adored Sarah and started calling her mom almost immediately. This only angered Ella more. She would get so angry at her dad, at her sister, at her stepmom, and she would tell Becca she deserved to die, and how dare she replace the woman who died because of her. She told Tom that he was sick for doing that to her mom. She told Sarah she was stealing from her mom, and she hated her and her ugly face, and that she would never be good enough. These things happened out in the open and were witnessed by our extended family, but they also went on at home. Sarah did her best to try and get Ella help, but Tom was not on board, and Sarah wasn't the right person to do it. CPS became involved after Ella called them on Sarah and wanted to get Becca and Sarah separated at all cost. She wanted to punish her sister for calling Sarah mom and wanted to punish Becca too. It became clear after CPS got involved that while Sarah was not a danger to Becca, Ella and Becca could not continue to live together in the environment they were in. They only took things so seriously because Ella told the social worker after wishing Becca and Sarah dead and telling them how much she hates her sister. My husband and I stepped up and offered to take Ella, which CPS agreed to. When I spoke to them about the rules and how everything would be handled, they said not to set up visits with Tom or Becca for Ella and to get Ella therapy. But they said we could attend larger family functions even if they would be there if we wanted to. But it likely would be better not to. I already knew this. My husband and I discussed it and agreed we should all stay away while Ella's with us and still struggling as much as she is. I told my family what we had decided, and they didn't understand why we couldn't have quick visits or try to expose the girls to each other in short bursts. I said it felt like it would be bad for both of them, but mostly for Ella, who I had to prioritize as she needed so much help. My family then claimed my big announcement was like a screw you to them. Tom was enraged. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Tom has failed to help her, so it's great she has you to step up. She's not ready to be around Becca and Sarah. She needs therapy, love, and time. And you're protecting Becca. She doesn't need to be around someone who hates her that much. Poor Becca's been abused her entire life by Ella. She's going to need help. It feels like no one in your family has taken seriously Ella's behavior in the past 8 years. 8 years of believing it's nothing, just a phase, a tiny adjustment, and more minimizing magical thinking. Honestly, I don't care that the rest of your family doesn't understand. Do what is best for Ella. This is what CPS expects of you, and this is what Ella finally deserves. The rest of your family's in denial about Ella's extreme dysfunction if they support Tom's position. My family has a tradition dating back 6 generations in which the firstborn son is named William. My father and I use our middle names to avoid confusion, while my grandfather is Bill. It's not that I don't like tradition, it's just that my middle name, James, is the name I've always been known as, and I always hated being made fun of when I was younger, especially at school, when a new teacher would inevitably call out my actual first name when taking the register, and all the other kids would laugh at me for trying to explain that I didn't want to be called that. Now I'm an adult. I know that if I wanted to, I could legally change my name by deed poll, but I guess I've just gotten used to the inconvenience, and at this stage of my life, it's more of a conversation starter if anything else. I also understand that of all the things to be made fun of when younger, it's pretty low down on the list, and some people would just say I'm being petty. Anyway, I've recently become a father to a beautiful baby boy, and to my family's horror, we've named him Ezra, which both my partner and I love. We've still given him the middle name William, but this is not good enough for my family, who've practically not acknowledged my son's name at all. He's a few months old now, and whenever they interact with him, he's referred to as Junior, or the child. All I want for Ezra is for him to feel like he's his own person when he grows up, not to feel like there's some kind of burden on him to live up to any expectations we might have for him, like I suppose I've always felt somewhat, and to feel comfortable knowing that any decision he makes, his mom and I will always support him. This is what makes me stand by our decision, but I can't help but feel guilt for breaking the tradition and that there's now a slight rift between me and my family, especially my dad. Am I the idiot for not naming my son William? Not the idiot. You and your partner can name your child whatever you like. You didn't start this tradition and had no say in it, so your family has no say in whether you like it going or not. I love that you kept the tradition by giving William as a middle name. That should be plenty enough, but don't feel like the idiot for naming your child. Not to mention that the mother should get a say too. What if she had her own family traditions? Why is it OP's family that supposedly gets a say? I'm not a fan of naming kids after other people in general, but seriously, one in every generation? Does it include cousins too? How confusing it must be to have so many Williams. He's referred to as Junior, or the child. I suggest you do the same with them. Always refer to them as the senior, or the mother, etc. See how long it takes them to catch on. Tradition's just peer pressure from dead people. It's not up to anyone else but you and your partner. Your family's refusing to call Ezra by his name, is extremely disrespectful and immature. Obviously, not the idiot, but I will laugh if your son grows up and decides to go by William.